Hi everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. In today's video, we're going to talk about how to identify which strategy works in your area. This is a big topic because I've been in various masterminds and I've seen a lot of people waste a lot of time, 6, sometimes even a year, trying to find deals that basically doesn't work in the area. So what I decided to show you how to identify which strategy works in my area, so you basically can go and model. So I'm going to try to release videos like this every so often. So if you wanted to be notified when I basically release a new video, you can click the button below and subscribe to my YouTube channel, and also like the video if you like this video. What else? So this is a topic that I cover in my ebook. You can get a free copy of my ebook. I will put the link below this video. And yeah, so I'm going to jump to my computer and show you how can you find which strategy works in your area. Bye for now and see you soon. All right, so I'm here in my computer, and what I've done, I basically put a small presentation together, and I don't want the presentation to be very long, so I decided to record that presentation in 2 parts. So let me record the first one, and then I record the second part. So what are we going to talk about? We're going to talk about how to find which strategy works in your area. So this is quite an important topic. Then I decided to basically put this presentation together. So what we're going to cover in this short video, so we're going to cover decide which strategy you want to go for, and also I'm going to talk about basically decide what is a deal for you. So most people don't know what is a deal for them. Let me talk about how you can identify what is a deal for you. So okay, so decide which strategy you go for. So there are 2 very common questions I see investors ask when they're starting out on their property journey. And these 2 questions are, what strategy should I pursue? And also, which strategy works in my area? So what I decided to basically take these 2 questions and go through one by one. So you basically don't need to ask these questions. So and when people ask me these questions, just redirect them to this video, so they basically start thinking and learning how to answer these 2 questions. So which strategies shall you pursue? So as I mentioned in my ebook, you basically I'm going to put the link below of my ebook here, so you can basically read. It's just 17 pages. It's a very small book where I talk about the most common basically mistakes I see investors and sources do. So basically you can read, and this is one of the videos which is part of this ebook. So if you read the ebook and watch the videos, it will make more sense. So as I mentioned in my book, you can decide what strategies to go for by deciding what you want to achieve in property, and then you can work backwards. So basically, let's say you wanted to invest in property because you want to replace your income. What you can do, you can basically decide, okay, I wanted to replace my income. My income is 2K or 3K. If I get, let's say, 2 HMOs, which is house of multiple occupancy, maybe I can get a 3K. So there's a lot of other things you have to think about, but that is, is a good, I would say, a good way to start thinking about that. So decide what you want, and then why you want to invest in property, and then work backwards. Also, I have a video where I teach how do I set goals. And what you can do, you can basically model that. That is the same training I give to my private clients. I put here in YouTube, so you can learn how to set goals. The way I set goals, you just can model. And yeah, so I decided to put here so you guys can learn how to set goals. So if you go to this video, learn how to set goals, and then that will give you clarity to decide which strategy you want to pursue. So the second question, which strategy works in my area? So now that you know which strategy to go for, you need to find out if that strategy works in your area. So that is another big question. So now you wanted to know that, let's say you wanted to do a HMO, you wanted to know if that strategy works in your area. So, and if you don't know what is strategy, so I'm just going to give some example of strategies. There are many. There's even more than the ones I put here. You can, there's rent to rent, single lets, flips, buy, remortgage, buy, refurbish, and remortgage. They call BRR. They are commercial conversions. They are commercials. They are purchase lease options. They are sourcing. They are, as I said, the HMOs. There are many strategies. If you don't understand that basically jargon, what you can do, you just can Google rent to rent or single lets or whatever, and or even here in YouTube, and then you're going to find people explaining. If you want me to explain, you can write in the comment below, and then I can do a video on each of one, what is a rent to rent, what is a single let, what is a flip. So basically, yeah, so if you know this strategy, if you know at least that this strategy exists, so you can basically decide which strategy to go for, because of your goals, and then to see if that strategy works in your area. So after you decide which strategy you want to like to pursue, you need to know if it's realistic to pursue this strategy, because there are a couple of things you have to consider. You have to consider your goals, what do you want to achieve. You have to consider how much money do you have to start with. So for example, I didn't have any money to start in property, so I had to be more creative. So I had to do creative strategies, kind of purchase lease option. I did sourcing. So and everyone is different. Maybe you already started with the cash, so that might be different. So you need to understand, you need to think about that as well. You need to think about your experience. So for example, if you wanted to do strategy, more advanced strategy like commercial conversions, you basically some lenders won't let you do that. So what you might do, you might joint venture with someone. So you want maybe find a partner that, and kind of learning from them, or use their experience to pursue that strategy. You need to think about how much time you have available. So some people have a lot of time. Some people work, part-time. Some people work full-time. So they don't have time. So if they don't have time, for example, I don't think they will do rent, because then how they can manage that. But of course they can do, but you have to think about that as well, and much more. There's other things you have to think about, but couple of things you need to think about. For example, some lenders, they would like you to have a couple of single lets, normal properties before you go to HMO. So they don't want just you to go straight away to HMO. So they want you to basically to prove them that you can rent properties, and then they will they will let you go to start buying HMOs. So after you decide which strategy you would like to pursue, you need to see if this strategy works in your area before you look elsewhere. There is a book called The Acres of Diamond, and basically this book tells a story of a man that bought a land and to look for diamonds, and he basically couldn't find the diamonds, and then he gave up and sold that land to someone else, and basically he took the money and started traveling looking for diamonds, and basically died without finding the diamond. And the person he basically sold this land for found the diamond in his land. So why I wanted to tell this story is because what I don't want you to do is to move someone like elsewhere to look for deals that might work in your area. So first you need to see if there's if there are deals in your area. Of course there are deals everywhere, but if the deals, you can find deals, the deals that give you the what you want in your area, and then you can look for elsewhere. Also, what you don't want to do, you don't want to see, which I see a lot of investors, they're looking for deals that don't work in the area. So what they do, they spend a lot of time looking for deals that doesn't really exist. The numbers don't work in the area, so they lose like many months or even years looking for deals where they could find the same type of deal with the same return elsewhere. So you need to balance that. You need to see if it works for you in your area. If it doesn't work in your area, then you start looking elsewhere. But what you don't want to do, you don't want to just spend your many months. I see a lot of investors doing that, months looking for deals in the area, which is very hard to find. So after you decide what strategy to go for, you need to decide what is a deal for you. A deal will be different for everyone. So what is a deal for me might not be a deal for you. What is a deal for you might not be a deal for other investors. So you need to decide what is a deal for you. So basically you need to decide based on ROI, your return on investment, or yield, or return on capital employed, or whatever you decided to whatever you decide to analyze the deal. So what is a really deal for you? So if you don't know what is return on investment, you can Google return on investment and they will teach you how to calculate that, or a yield, or return on capital employed. Every investor is different. So but you wanted to know what is a deal for you. So because then when you see that number, that is a deal for you. Of course, sometimes you have to see other things, how much money you leave in the deal, if you want to do BRR, if you wanted to buy, remortgage, and refurbish. No, so buy, refurbish, and remortgage, and then go again. So you need to understand how much money you will leave in the deal, what is your ROI. So you need to think about that. So after you have you have answered these questions, you can start stacking up deals to see if these deals if you can find these deals in your area. So you can, and basically what stacking up a deal, so basically just crunch some numbers and see if these are the type of deals that are in your area, because it's much easier to find what you're looking for when you know what you are looking for. It seems very kind of clear for a lot of people, but sometimes it's hard for us to find what we're not looking for, because we don't know what we're looking for, so it's hard to find. So if you know the number, as soon you, for example, put some numbers in a spreadsheet, you're like, oh, this is a deal for me. So let me show you very quickly. So let's say I'm looking for single lets in Liverpool. So let me show you how would I do, so you can model and do for yourself. So now what we're going to basically we're going to RightMove and we do that exercise. So now I'm here in RightMove. So what you can do, you can open two tabs. So basically have two tabs open, and then let's put one of the areas, so L4, and you click for sale. And now here we open here another one, and we put the same postcode, and we put to rent. Now we go back to for the sale one, and here we put, let's say we want single let, so we want 1, 2, 3 beds, and then we put find properties. Okay, now what we're going to do, instead of the highest price, let's put the lowest first. So we click here, we select lowest price. Okay, so the property start from 18,000. Yeah, it's quite cheap. If you're from London and elsewhere, it seems a single let in Liverpool is cheaper. So now what we wanted to do, we want to assess like kind of how much will be average property in Liverpool, 2-3 beds for us. So yeah, so let's say we would say it's around 65,000. For example, if we would buy something like that and add some value to, for example, this is 2 beds, seems quite good. So let's say 60 would be a price to buy a property in Liverpool, so in this area. So now we go to the rent. We wanted to find out how much we would rent a 2 bed or 3 bed in that area. So do same thing, and here you go. So we're talking about 750, this one, 500, 425, 600, 485, 500, 550. So let's say we can put conservatively 530, 520, 504. Yeah, let's say 520 would be okay. Now let's go to a spreadsheet, and you just put the numbers. So let's say is 660,000. Let's say we find the property ourselves, so we don't need to pay any sourcing fee, legal fee. Let's say we put 1,000. Stamp duty, just go to, let's go back here, find our stamp duty. So we put buy additional home, and then we put the price 60,000. Let's see if we pay stamp duty on that one. So it's 1,800. So 1,800. So we put 800 here in stamp duty. Oops. Okay, so let's say we spend 7.5 just to put the property in a better standard. Rental, we said 530, 520, 530. So let's be conservative, put 520. Void 5%. You can increase your void, you can put 10%. So money out, let's say buildings, insurance. Okay, so now this will be the cash flow when we buy the property. You can buy the property in cash, and then now let's say we are remortgaging the property. So let's say, yeah, I think let's say if the property goes to let's say 90k, yes, you know, it might not be 90k, but let's say the property would go 90k. Actually, one of the things you could do, you could go back here to the sales and now put the highest price in that area. So you can go all the way up, and instead of put lowest, now you put the highest, just to see how much a property in a good standard would sell for. So we are talking about 175, 170. You can call a estate agent and say, look, I'm buying a property there. How much it, you know, will cost if I, you know, spend some money? How much would you sell this property for? So we would say, let's say 80, 90k, or even 75. Maybe is you know, 75, 80 would be a realistic. So let's say 90k. It comes then let's say you get a mortgage 75% loan to value. You would leave, let's say 2,800 in the deal. You release 22,000, which you can take the money and buy another single let. Mortgage payment 2%. You can increase to 3% if you want, or you can leave as a 2%. Now I'm recording this video, the mortgage is quite low. Then let's say yearly you get 3.5 grand, 3.5k, and then the ROI is quite a good one. 100, and so it's a very good ROI, and then you get your money back in 9 months. So let's say if in case your valuation comes lower, the same thing, the ROI will be 50%, and you get your money in almost 2 years. So you got the gist. So you have a spreadsheet, you just put the numbers and you see what is a deal for you. It will be different for everyone. So some people will see the yield, some people will see, so you just need to have a spreadsheet. You put the numbers and you see. So, and let's say you want to make let's say 2k, so you come now, you see, okay, if the property rents every single month, how long will take, how many single lets I need to buy to give me that money. So that's simple. Okay, so let's go back to our presentation. So I don't want to make this basically video too long, so basically that is it. So let me just recap. So first you decide, why do you want to invest in property? What is the reason? Do you want to replace your income? Do you want to basically have a retirement, or you want to just add to your pension? Whatever it is different for everyone, so you need to decide. Then you need to decide which strategy to go for. You wanted to go for single lets because you don't have time. You wanted to go to a commercial conversions, a more advanced one. what is the strategy you wanted to go for. You wanted to think about that. The third one, decide what is a deal for you. Is different for everyone. Some people is 20% ROI, some people is just return on the capital employed, some people just focus on the yield. What is a deal for you? How much money do you want to leave in the deal? You don't want to leave money in the deal. Everyone is different, so you have to think about that as well. And then the last one, you have to determine which strategy works in your area. So before you go to any elsewhere, think if you can use that strategy in your area. If you can't use that strategy in your area, where in the country you can use that strategy. So I'm going to do a second part on after you decide which strategy works in your area, what you do. So after you decide that, what you do, what are the next steps to do. So I hope you enjoy this video. If you enjoy, I'm going to be doing videos like this, and if you wanted to be notified, you can click the subscription, and yeah, so you can get notified when I release videos. I'll try to release as many as possible and as often as possible. Yeah, if you want to be notified, just click the button below. I hope you enjoy. See you soon, and bye for now.